Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Man City Unplugged, your very own Man City fan channel. We have an early afternoon fixture today, or an early evening fixture if you're watching from India. I've never quite been a fan of early Saturday afternoon fixtures, especially if you're played in midweek. But like Pep said in the press conference, I think every team that plays in the Champions League, or worst case, even in the Europa League on Thursday, they will at some point of time have to play a early Saturday kickoff fixture. It's happened to Liverpool. It's happening to us. I think it will happen at some point of time to every team that plays in Europe. But Wolves, I think, are a tough opponent. The reason for the toughness is yes, they don't score many goals, but they don't concede many either. So I could see it being a dodgy afternoon from Wolves, an afternoon where we'll have to be. Yes, we have Erling Haaland, but I think we'll have to be very inventive and innovative in terms of crafting our attacks because in the previous two games against Villa, especially which we drew, we were, I mean, sort of lacking a bit of that innovativeness, especially in the first half. And I know we sparked back into life against Villa in the second half, but in these sort of games when the other team tries to park the bus a bit and are tough to crack down, you need to have that momentum right from the goal, right from the first whistle. You can't just be lethargic in a half and then go and build up all your momentum in the second half because a goalkeeper could have a spectacular 30-40 minutes and you can't get the job done in over 45 minutes. A half is sometimes not enough to break down these teams that sit back like we saw against Villa. We had that spectacular 10-15 blitz, 10-15 minutes blitz, and we just, on another day we could have scored more goals and we could have won the game, but it just didn't happen. So sometimes a half might just not be enough to crack open a team. That's why we need to start from off the go. So let's just go with the lineup. I think the goalkeeper is the most obvious one, like it is for many of the top teams, their first choice goalkeeper plays. So it's Edison for us, that is obvious. Now the left back thing, here comes the interesting part. There's been a lot of questions, especially defensively, even after that Dortmund game. I mean, I know the media now can't focus on the attack in terms of our weaknesses. They'll have to focus on the defense, and they were telling, is City's defense good enough to win you the Champions League, or is City's defense good enough than last season? Things like that. Comparisons are coming like that. But left back is interesting for me. Walker's injured, so there are two choices here. I mean, you could actually say that put Stones at right back and the same thing Cancelo at left back since they've done well in Dortmund. But Pep will manage Stones, and with Stones again, the thing against Dortmund was, you see, we struggled a bit in the first half to open Dortmund up, and it was only in the second half when Dortmund themselves got opened up a bit, and then they scored a goal, and then Pep bought an Alvarez, and we just went gung ho in the attack a bit, and that's when we open the scoring. So I think we would need a bit more creativity there down the flank, especially to open up goals. So I would actually go with Sergio Gomez here, and I just think Sergio Gomez, he deserves to actually start because in the one Champions League against Sevilla, which he started, he was like fantastic. He showed me that intelligence, that great positional awareness. He showed everything that a mature Pep Guardiola fullback would have. It seemed as if that he was playing there all his life. I know I said this after the Sevilla game. I said this in our last live stream against Dortmund, where I was disappointed he didn't start. And especially in games like these, I think Gomez is very, very important in breaking down an opponent. He can come inside and he can go outside because he's a natural left footer, but he also has the intelligence of a midfielder, so he can always be an extra body in the middle to overwhelm Wolves, and he has the recovery pace to get back. Not as much as Walker, maybe, but he has great pace. He's more pace than Zinchenko. And last season, oftentimes when we struggle to break down an opponent, Pep's choice was bring Zinchenko on at half time. Brighton away last season. I think with 2-3 games to go in the title race last season, we were not able to break Brighton with that usual Cancelo Walker thing. Sorry, Ake Walker, Ake Cancelo thing and something. And Pep removed Ake and bought on Zinchenko and we cracked open Brighton. Last day of the season, we were struggling against Villa. Sergio Gomez came on and Zinchenko came on and Rustis Estri, we came back and won that game and won the title. So I actually think Gomez will be a very, very vital part that most people think and expect him to start. Right backs should be easy. I think Pep will go with Cancelo. The thing in this game is Pep will enhance creativity down his flanks because he has now realized without creativity down the flanks, and especially with Cancelo struggling a bit when Team Sparta was struggling a bit on the left hand side, I think Pep will have realized that he needs to use Gomez more, especially against Sparta bus teams. And I think as at least as long as Walker is injured, Pep will give Cancelo chances in that right back position. Now the centre backs are interesting. I've seen in a couple of places that on the net that Aymeric Laporte could start this match, but I don't think so. I actually think that Pep might go with this the same combination of Nathan Ake and Akanji because why would you want to remove a well-functioning center back partnership? Why would you want to separate a partnership which is understanding themselves and inherently understanding is the main thing? They in a center back partnership, especially. There were flashes against Borussia Dortmund where, Akanji went for the ball and Ake immediately dropped off, and sometimes Ake went to engage with the person who was crossing the ball into the box, and Akanji immediately took a position at the near post where the far post where the cross wouldn't travel to the other attacker down the other end. So I mean those glimpses of understanding were astounding, especially that Ake and Akanji are I think playing for the first time or something like that. So it's interesting. Why would you want to break that partnership? But then rest for Akanji would be the thing. But then it's almost like strikers, Haaland is in such hot form that you see Pep is not resting him goal after goal. I think it is the same for centre backs. So I actually expect Akanji to start, but maybe you would not be mistaken if you think that maybe Diaz could start. That is the thing. But then again, both haven't done a mistake, and we've seen when you don't do a mistake, Pep will not drop you. I know there's a need to manage, especially the minutes of Akanji that now that he's played both the games. I mean, not both the games. There was a break in between, right? So I actually think that Akanji plays this match just for the kind of form and understanding he's showing with Ake. And I don't think Pep rushes Laporte in because we're not through a defensive crisis or something. In fact, we are going through a good phase defensively. Okay, we are conceding goals, but that was before this partnership with Akanji at the back. Sevilla, we didn't concede any. Against Dortmund, it was not Akanji's mistake from a set piece. The run from Bellingham was good, but Jack Grealish should have blocked off the pass from the source and things like that. So now the central midfield is interesting. I think he rests Rodri for this match. I think Calvin Phillips needs to get game time there, and I also think the versatility of Calvin Phillips will be useful here because he can switch it much more quickly. Rodri is important to control the tempo of the game, but when it comes to breaking down defenses, I sometimes think that Rodri's switches are a little bit predictable. It's no blemish on Rodri or something like that, but I do feel that he is a little bit slow in terms of judging where the space is, and then the opponents who are parking the bus they just go on and occupy those spaces. And Calvin Phillips, and other thing with Calvin Phillips is he can defend in a one. He can just hold the fort like a Fernandino did. If you can hold the fort for a crazy Leeds team who just bomb forward and you're the one lone one who's back, I think Phillips can do it for City. I think Phillips can turn around the book and bring us back those days when Fernandino himself was holding in that Centurion season, and both De Bruyne and David Silva were just bombing forward as two attacking midfielders. So I think Pep will give Calvin Phillips a start here, and also he knows he has to manage Rodri's minutes. He just can't play Rodri all the games. So Calvin Phillips will start here for a couple of reasons. He will give us more license to go gung ho and attacking wise and stuff like that. Now, this is interesting actually. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne is a certain starter here, but I told you it's interesting because Pep has tended to rotate between De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, and Gundogan. He is okay on one occasion. He's played all the three, but it affects the balance of the team. So De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo, he will rotate. But then knowing how Wolves line up, I think De Bruyne will be there, especially especially with that connection just in its infancy stage connection between De Bruyne and Haaland. I actually think that De Bruyne will start because Pep will want that connection to flourish and get to another level as soon as possible. I know it's developing, but trust me, it's just in the infancy stage between De Bruyne and Haaland. When it fully develops, the entire Premier League will be shit scared. And in the other central midfield position, should it be Bernardo? Should it be Gundogan? I myself am not able to get it. I myself am just not able to understand it how it will go. But I'm just gonna go with an odd choice here. I know it's gonna be very difficult to see Pep making such a choice, but I see Jack Grealish playing there actually in the midfield because I think Pep knows he needs to develop the confidence in Jack Grealish. I mean, out of the five questions today asked to Pep in the press conference, at least three, four of them were about Jack Grealish, and he just seemed frustrated. He just seems that he somehow needs to get that confidence going, and unfortunately, he doesn't have the answers. And unfortunately, I think Pep has the answers for this Jack Grealish problem, and the answer is playing in midfield. That's it. Just give the chance of playing Phillips there and De Bruyne and Grealish in the midfield. I do think we will, by playing both De Bruyne and Grealish in the midfield, I think you will unlock an other side to City, another side which opponents would not even have imagined. The runs, the runs and the aggressiveness of Grealish in those 1v1 situations, especially running in the midfield, where he can go both ways, where it's much more harder to defend against, especially putting in that balls from, when Jack Grealish plays in the midfield, it almost gives you the sense that he has the ability to put almost David Beckham like crosses. He almost has the ability to, occupy those wide positions going from the midfield. When he's on the wing, it's a little bit more predictable putting in those crosses. But when he's in from the midfield, he can go both ways. He can occupy those wide positions, and it will be difficult because the opponents have to develop on the winger and also have to develop on Jack Grealish. So I do think you can almost unlock a David Beckham and Andrea Pirlo like performance from Jack Grealish when you put him out in that midfield position. So I know this could be the most controversial call you could say is out of his mind, but I do see if Jack Grealish's future is in the midfield for City if he has to succeed here. In the striking position, will Pep rest Haaland? That is the only question. Maybe he doesn't because like I've told, strikers in hot form, he doesn't trust Haaland. And on the left wing position, I actually see Phil Foden making a comeback. And on the right wing position, I think it has to be Julian Alvarez. Has to be Alvarez. They were. I'm sorry, I put him in the striking position, but let us just correct it. It has to be Julian Alvarez. I mean, a lot of questions were asked about Julian Alvarez in the press conference. I think 6 out of 6 questions, 4 were about Jack Grealish, and 2 were about Julian Alvarez. But Pep mentioned something interesting. He can play out wide, but I want to play him as a striker. So that comment for me was interesting. But Pep said Julian Alvarez helps us increase the intensity and stuff. But out wide, in Pep's confidence, Pep's answers, you could actually sense that Pep wants to play Alvarez in the middle more than out wide. So, but then no space in the middle with Haaland in such a hot goal scoring form. And again, would you play Mahrez? Maybe not. So I actually think Julian Alvarez could be the one out wide because he just deserves to start based on even his performance against Dortmund. He went for a 1v1 and he should have almost scored. It was a tight finish. So Alvarez played very well against Dortmund. He's played very well whenever he has been into the team, whenever he's been giving minutes. So I do think it will be almost close to a sin, close to a criminal offense, not starting Julian Alvarez. So this is the team for me. Grealish is the surprise element here. But I somehow feel that Pep will start Jack Grealish this time. Anyway, guys, let me know your comments about this formation. Do you think Pep might line up with the Gundogan instead of Jack Grealish or Bernardo Silva instead of Jack Grealish in the midfield? Do you think Calvin Phillips will start over Rodri? Do you think Akanji will start this game as well or Diaz will start? Do let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the watch along, which we have on this channel in the evening. So, do join me in that and take care once again and see you there.